Your boy Daru Daru on another episode on Therapy Hub from me to you. I thank you guys so much for tapping in. It's been a while. It's been actually a few weeks. I've been doing some other things, some progressive things around AMP TV and around Therapy Hub. We've been coming up with a new clothing brand. So we have a new clothing brand. So you're going to see some merch available for AMP TV very soon. But right now we have our store, the App Store. So www.theappstore.com, where you can go on our website. Sorry, go online and shop, and see the wonderful, browse through the wonderful items that we have. We have unlimited drops. We have limited drops. We have our new summer AVX caps that are available now. They were 15% off. They're not on sale right now, but I'll let the viewers know when they're on sale again, or when you can use our promo code Therapy Hub to get 10% off of these caps. Now they're going very well. People are supporting and people are buying them. They come in blue, red, cream, and also they come in black and gray. Okay. Um, as far as the shipping's concerned, right now we're having everybody knows that there's a shortage in shipping. So if anybody hasn't received their orders yet, we do ask to just be patient, and hang in there. You'll definitely receive our product soon, because we got great customer service, and we got good manufacturers. It's just the shipping at this time is a little bit delayed. But anyhow, I want to get into our topics today. Now, our topic is very interesting because it is a topic that everybody could relate to in life, especially when you are doing well or you are winning. And I want to kind of give people an insight onto how I deal with these situations, because I go through it all the time. Now, the topic we're going to talk about today is they're intimidated because you are winning. Now, this is a space where we talk about real life. Okay. So I want everybody that, and actually, congratulations. We just received our 200 subscriber today. I went out to the store and I seen somebody that I knew, and I told them about our stream, that I had to jump on and do a live stream soon. And they asked what was it about, and I told them, and they said, "Well, wow, I needed some therapy today." And I said, "Well, you should tap in." And he was our 200 subscribers. So unfortunately, we wanted to do a contest for our 200 subscriber, but we did have our 200 subscriber today. So we will be providing that gentleman with a AVX Classic cap. Okay, so if you are watching, I seen you today. Tap in so you can get your AVX Classic hat. Okay, thank you for your subscription. So congratulations to Therapy Hub, guys. We've reached 200 subscribers. It's been what, 4 or 5 months. However, we had some subscribers before from MTV and Grassroots and that type of thing, but it was, I think, at like 60 or 70 subscribers. And then since we've came out with this podcast, Therapy Hub, it's gone. It's it's kind of it's increased. The numbers increased. So thank you very much, and congratulations to us here and the team and everybody at Therapy Hub and MTV that's been making things happen. Shout out to D2E. Haven't had them online in a while, but we're hoping to get the Ross back on soon. Well, everybody knows I'm your host, Daru Daru, and today we're going to talk about something a lot of people experience but don't always understand. Okay? Now, they're intimidated by you because you're winning. Plain and simple. All right? And no, winning doesn't always mean money, fame, okay, or followers. Sometimes winning simply just means that you've become disciplined. You found your peace. You started healing. You are finally starting to believe in yourself. And strangely enough, that can make people feel very uncomfortable. Now, it's weird, right? To say, like, why would people feel uncomfortable when they know somebody else is winning? But for the most part, a lot of people have their own issues that they're dealing with. And, you know, not everyone will clap when you level up, okay? Because of things that they're doing or things that you're doing may trigger something that they're lacking. And like some people liked you better when you've doubted yourself. Some people like you better when you're down and you're out, when you're down and out. But when you're struggling, and also when you're struggling, they also turn your back on you when you need validation, when you played small. But once you start walking with confidence, purpose, I believe that, and have self-respect, I just believe that people begin to see the parts of themselves that they've been avoiding, right? Now, all of us are the greatest influences to everybody. I always say that. In the last episode, I was talking about following one another, and the world doesn't tend to know how to lead correctly. The world, may have a leader, and then you have about 50,000 followers after that, and then another leader. So in life, if we learn to kind of lead more than following, I think that even our challenges, or when other people challenge us to things, I think we will become more able to deal with them and able to confront them when we know ourselves more. Okay. Now, here's the truth. Okay. And some people may not like it, and some people may like it. But here's the truth: your growth will expose people who refuse to grow. So back to what I was saying, right? And the reason why I say that your truth will expose people, or your growth will expose people who refuse to grow, because people who refuse to grow and want to stay in the same position, or been the same for many, many years and have never changed. And when they see you grow, it kind of makes them feel less. It makes them feel like, oh, because not everybody has the motivation that you have, or not everybody has the smarts that you have, or the drive. That's why a lot of people, they get upset when they start a business, and they have friends, or they have people that are involved in the business with them, and they're doing most of the work every day, and their friends are just reaping the benefits, or they're only around when things are going well. It's because people don't always have the drive that you do. People are not always going to treat your business or treat your values the way you treat your value, or the way you value yourself. So that's why it's so important for us to value ourselves in general, and to our value is the most important over anybody's opinion, or over anybody else's evaluation of us. I think that before we allow people to have that opinion, we need to set standards and guide and boundaries for ourselves when it comes to dealing with these type of people, because it can also affect you when you're growing, because you're going to feel that not these people are not there to motivate you, and you're not going to feel that nobody is there to motivate you, and it's going to kind of get you discouraged. Okay. Now, your discipline also can remind them of their excuses, because many people make excuses, right? Many people always have a story or some type of excuse to get out of a situation, or not to deal with a situation. And your discipline could be the reminder of that. And that also can raise conflict or raise tension between you and that individual. Now, your consistency also can remind them of their lack of effort. Back to them of their excuses, their lack of effort. They feel that they are, and not the fact that they feel, they just know that they don't have the effort, or they don't have the drive or the motivation that you may have. And they may feel intimidated by you because for me, I'll give you a perfect example. I have a friend who has been in and out of the system for years, and just can't find a solid roof over their head, and a state. They just can't stable themselves. And this person meant a lot to me. They were like one of my best friends, and they were probably the only person I had. But I started noticing their patterns in life, and I started noticing the things that they were doing was rubbing off on me. And because I was growing, and I was, doing things that I was supposed to do with employment, and making sure that I keep a roof over my head, it made me more successful because of the pressure that I was evolving, right? And because I had no choice, I had to make ends meet. So because of that, I became a better person, and my growth, I kind of outgrew them. And when that happened, they kind of didn't distance themselves from me, but I kind of distanced myself from them in the sense where it was like, okay, I can only be around them for certain things. Then when I noticed even those things that I was around them for, like just to hang out and to check up on them, I felt that it wasn't, I couldn't relate to them anymore, which was sad because I'm a person that been through hell and back. If anybody that knows me, they know what I've been through in life. And to see me up here talking, doing a therapy hub, some people are amazed. They're like, wow, Drew, I can't believe it. You are a story. And I always tell people that in life, you can never let somebody bring you down, no matter what you're doing. You can't let somebody, because people are always going to have their own views and their own efforts. You can never pressure somebody like they say you know you have you have water, but you can't force or sorry the well or sorry about the bringing a horse to a well, but you can't force them to drink the water. It's kind of it's exactly like that. Like, you know, like you can't force people to do things that they don't have the ability to do. However, you can help them and you can provide, you know, little niches and little things that they could possibly encounter. And but I was doing that with my friend, and to the point where they started feeling that I was better than them. And they started saying to me, "You think you're better than me. You think you're a better person than me. You know, I don't have to listen to you. Who are you?" And I was just like, "Whoa, who am I? You sat there my whole entire life and watch what I've been through. You even vouched for me. And now that you see where I am, you should be able like, yo, I want to follow you, bro. I want to like, you know, teach me." And but instead people feel like they don't want they, you know, people if people do that, you're better than them, right? And then that's what I'm explaining with when it comes to your consistency could remind them um of their lack of effort, and that's all it is. And you know, also your peace could remind them of their chaos, because everybody has some type of chaotic situation or something in their life that we're dealing with. You know, and we got to understand this. When we're dealing with things, we can't always personalize everything and blame everything on ourselves, or blame everything on the world, or sorry, blame everything on the world or everything around us. We sometimes have to look at ourselves and blame ourselves for certain things, because we are the creators of our own peace. Okay, so there's a saying where they say chaos or misery loves company. That's where that comes in. So when, you know, you have peace, their chaos, it can drive them crazy because they don't have the same peace that you have. Okay, now one thing that we just always have to remember when we're encountering situations with these people is that it's not your burden to carry. Plain and simple. It's not your burden to carry. It's not your burden to carry. And too many people dim their light just to make other people feel comfortable. And I noticed that. That I used to be that way, people pleaser. And it simply does not work for you. And I'm just letting everybody know that you have to take care of yourself. You got to please yourself before you can even please others. Now, pleasing others doesn't have to be you always making them happy or them always liking you. And I feel like I used to go through this too when, oh, you know, I'm winning and they're not supporting me. They don't want to see me win. But then I remember that they may they may want to see me win behind the scenes, but they want to see how I'm going to win, right? And people are like that. So sometimes you got to remember that your discipline and the things that you are the things that you do in life are because of it, they're your burdens to carry. So, you know, you never ever take your burden and put it on somebody else, because, you know, it's it's not right. You know, even like for instance, I was saying to myself, man, I got to really start looking at creating my will and doing a lot of things with my family, because I'm not going to leave them with any burdens. I feel like, you know, um, I just feel like they don't deserve that, and nobody deserves that. So you don't have to be the person to carry someone else's burdens as well. All right, I want to get a little bit off topic with that one there, but that's exactly what I mean. But so you got to ask yourself, like, why should you shrink yourself to fit in somebody else's insecurity, right? That's the main question. People are going through insecurities. They're going through insecurities for particular reasons, and you don't have to fit yourself inside their insecurity. Winning changes relationships, plain and simple. Okay, we know this because we've seen people who become successful and they lose friends, right? Because their friends start becoming leeches, or they start becoming haters, or they start being, jealousy, and all these things come in with winning. Because no one wants, and I don't know why it's like that, but like I notice a lot of people when they don't see themselves in your shoes, they are upset, or they feel like, why isn't that me? Right? I don't look at things like that. When I see somebody successful, I think, wow, look at that person. I can become that person too. What did that person do to be successful? What did that person go through? One thing that we don't realize in life is what people go through to be in the position that they're in. I've seen so many people look at me, oh, you got a business and you do this and you got this and you got that and you must have money, you're rich. But nobody really knows the struggle and the ups and downs. Like, I've had to sleep in my car. I think I've told this story on Therapy Hub a couple of times. I had to sleep in my car. When I was sleeping in my car, nobody called me and said, hey, come sleep at my house. I've had friends where I even called them, can I come by? Sure, no problem. I call them, they don't pick up the phone. Right? So I took all of that into account and said, hey man, look, this is going to come down to me actually worrying about myself and taking care of myself, not caring and not putting my burden on anybody, and actually really taking the time and to really listen to people, to be motivated by people. And I sat down and I watched a lot of people on YouTube and a lot of other podcasters and a lot of other content creators. And because I noticed one thing too with the content creating world here in Canada and Toronto, everybody's out for each other's throats. Or if one person starts a podcast, oh, this guy started a podcast. Oh, no, don't, God forbid. Like, why? Let anybody do what they want to do, as long as they're not interfering with your business, they're not calling your name, they're not doing any of the above. Leave them alone. Let them do their thing. Everybody has their own niche. If people want to listen to hip hop stories, they're going to listen to hip hop stories. If somebody wants to listen to documentaries, they're going to listen to documentaries, watch documentaries. If somebody wants to watch therapy, they're going to watch therapy. Like, people are going to be driven to whatever they're going to be driven to. It's up to you to have the courage and the work and the consistency to keep giving the people what they want to hear. And unfortunately, when you do that and you block out all the other drama that's going on with this podcast and that podcast and this person and that person, when you block it out, you become successful, because whatever people are talking about or whatever they're saying is not registering, because you're not even hearing it. They're only saying it to their viewers. So let it be. Who cares? I don't care. Let them and their little circles have their indulgements, and they have their have their debates. But when it comes to it affecting you as a person, an individual, and it's like, no, create something where people are going to be drawn to you, right? So in other words, be original. And that's all you can be in life. When you're original and you're yourself, and you're just, you just do everything based on you, based on your life, based on what you do, you will become successful, more successful than anybody else. Then you're going to start seeing the hate. So for me, I kind of I erase everybody or anybody that I feel that's going to try to intimidate me or try to keep me on on a level where I'm gonna always feel like I'm down there and they're up there. I don't even okay, buddy. You know what I mean? Like I've seen people's YouTube's subscriptions been the same for 20 years, right? Growth. So when you are growing and you're putting up numbers and your views are matching your subscribers, then you know that you're actually making an impact. And whatever anybody else out there is saying, whatever anybody else there is doing, or they're trying to 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 sabotage, you know, let them and just come out with more and more consistency and more shots every time. Bang, 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 bang. Just don't stop. That's what winning's really about, man. Now, sometimes friends can become distant too, right? When it comes to this type of thing, because friends are also a major part of growing, right? If you are growing, you want to have people around you grow too. You don't want people around you in the same position doing the same thing. This is back to my friend where I had to cut him off because I was like, yo, to a couple of my friends and one of them was really close to me. And I had to cut him off because it was like he wasn't trying to grow. He wanted to do the same position. He wanted to live off his woman, live in the same position, and not do anything in life. Right? When that happens, right, and you are amongst that, you're gonna be involved in that environment because you're gonna feel like, shit, I can do that too, and it just becomes a domino effect, right? Versus you trying to actually change situations. Like I tried to start a business and I gave my this individual and I gave this guy an opportunity to run half of my business, 50% of my business. Somebody that, remind you, this person never helped me start any of it. Just was just a good friend of mine, but never helped me start nothing. And I turned around and said, look, I'm going to give you half of my business. You have this area, I have this area. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. They thought whatever I was doing in my company wasn't to their liking, right? So they felt like they didn't want to do it. And because of that, I believe that this person now still working or doing whatever. But for me, I created my company. My company became so successful on its own where it was like, okay, I really don't need anybody anymore. I can create my own managers and actually have workers and people that can work for me and do the job properly, right? Instead of having my friends are trying to help my friends and them not wanting to help themselves, because this company is going to grow. And if they're not going to grow, they're going to keep my company, probably even drive my business to the ground. And you don't want that, right? You want people that are going to grow with you. So that was the reason why I had to just end the relationship, right? Because it was like, and I was trying to help them. I was trying to help their family. I was trying to do everything I possibly could to help them. And it wasn't good enough. It was like, I'm interfering and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. So I had to step back. And because of that, that caused us to lose our friendship. So friends can become distant. Okay. So just remember that. And be prepared for it, because, you know, it can be hurtful. It can hurt you, especially when you have close friends turn their back on you. It can hurt you. Now, sometimes people start competing with you as well. So instead of them actually trying to help you or trying to see things actually work for you, they actually start competing with you. So they'll see you do something and they'll try to do the same thing and act like it's a complete, um it's a complete idea of their own. Like I've had an issue with somebody just recently where I created and designed something and they came to me and tried to tell me that they gave me that idea, and I created and designed that thing way before I even met them. And it's like people, and I'm the wrong person to come to, but with that, because I don't bite nobody. That's one thing anybody can tell you about me. I don't bite. I don't need to bite nobody. You see all this? All of this is me. Me, all of this. You see anybody doing documentaries about mental health, men's mental health here in Toronto? No. Okay. All these things I'm doing, the stream, the clothing line, it's all me. Me. Original. So when I have people trying to tell me that, or trying to tell me that I'm biting their ideas, or they came up with an idea, I cut them off, because it's like, yo, that's dangerous, right? Because anybody that knows me knows I don't bite. So if anybody, to me, it sounds like they're trying to bite me, you know, you know what I mean? But that happens. You got to let, when people go through those things, or people try to create those type of behaviors, all you got to do is just kind of like ignore it and continue to show improve. That's all you can do. Talking ain't really going to help. Actions will. Showing improving will. Definitely that will, because people, and like this is the whole thing with winning, right? Your actions, all of this is winning. Knowing this, right? Being aware of all these things, being aware of friends, and knowing who supports you and who doesn't support you. This is winning. Okay. So I don't want people to think, and I said in the beginning, that it's about money, fame. That's what a lot of people always think. Oh, this person's is rich and they're winning. Yeah, you could be winning in that way too. But if you actually found peace, and the other person's richer than you are, and you just found peace, and they're still miserable, and they're still, carrying burdens, and still not happy with their life just because they have money, that's cool. But you're not. So that's all that matters. You know what I mean? So, excuse me, my nose is a little running today, guys. I gotta blow my nose here when I'm done. I want to do it on camera, so please forgive me. Um, but anyways, sometimes people just start competing with you instead of supporting you, like I said, and it's not because you did something wrong. It's just always usually because your evolution forces them to confront where they are in life, right? Now, we can be honest. Success changes the energy around you. People may call you different. I've been called many different things. Um, I've just recently told my mother about some things that I went through as a child, sexual abuse and things. And she told me that I was bipolar, and that, you know, that my mental health I may not know what I'm talking about, because I'm bipolar, and et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, I haven't even been diagnosed with bipolar. So like, for like my brother and all these people telling her all these things, and they don't even know nothing. They don't know what I'm going through. And I told mom, okay, well, if I am bipolar, then why am I bipolar? Right? It's because of the things that I've been through in life. Right? Everything has a root cause. You just don't bipolar for no reason. Why am I? What? Okay, so why? Why are these things? Because I'm telling you what I went through as a child, especially sexually abused as a child. I'm telling you these things, and you're looking at me and telling me that I'm bipolar, right? Heartbreaking, very heartbreaking. That conversation was today because I wanted to reach out to my mother and tell her that I think we need therapy. I think we need, as a mother and son, we need therapy, but she's been avoiding it for years, like decades. She will not do therapy with me. She tells me I'm the only one that needs it, and et cetera, et cetera, and she's not doing it. So that hurts a little bit, but it's like, whatever. So the most I can do is just do this, right? Kind of like do my own therapy, be open about everything, and just kind of just tell the truth, right? I don't need to lie about anything. I have nothing to lose, and I don't really care at this time, because everybody's gotten away with hurting me and throwing me under the bus for too long. And I feel like the more and more I grow, and the more I talk about these things, the more and more I will heal. Okay. And this is helping me win, because as more and more that I'm winning, more and more that I'm doing these things and talking about these things, everybody's coming to light. People are starting to see the truth, and people are starting to understand, like, holy, like, I would never put somebody through this. Never. Like, who would? Like, that's crazy. Like, you wouldn't want your kid or anybody going through those things. So we ask people out there, please treat everybody the way you want to be treated. Treat everybody the way, especially women. You got sons. Treat men the way you want a woman to treat your son. A lot of women say, well, would you talk to a daughter? Would you talk to your daughter this way, the way you're talking to me? Well, you got to reverse that question, and it has to apply to men as well. Would you talk to a man the same way you would talk to your son? Or would you want anybody to do to your son what you're doing to that man? And it also works both ways with men and women also. Okay. So we have to understand these things. Now, back to the main, I don't want to get a little bit off topic here, but back to the main topic of what we're talking about. Sometimes we finally find our worth, and people think that sometimes, even with me, right? With me just being this way and kind of like ranting a little bit, people, you may feel that sometimes it may become a little overwhelming, but just remember, you finally learned your worth. You finally stopped tolerating disrespect. Okay. That's how I feel that I'm at this point now. It's just like I just had enough of disrespect. I had enough of I'm not tolerating anymore. And I feel like the more and more and more that I'm really standing up for myself now, the more and more people are starting to really see the true me. And I had my friend tell me the other day, yo, my mom, she loved you, but she always thought you were too nice. Could you imagine that? Once again, sorry, I don't care. Did you imagine that, though? Right? Your mother, his mother saying that she thought that I was too nice. Right? So that made me think a little bit as also. All right. Now, here's something important. Don't confuse intimidation with hatred. Don't confuse intimidation with hatred. Sometimes people admire you silently, as I said. Okay. Sometimes people admire you from a distance because they feel behind. Sometimes your confidence challenges them in ways that they don't understand yet. And a lot of this is just with people not understanding us, understanding our progress, understanding our growth. But either way, never apologize for evolving. Evolving is something that people need to do, that people need in life, that you will always be doing. Everybody, the world evolves. Okay? You work for this version of yourself. The late nights, the healing, the setbacks, the ups and downs, the losses nobody saw. I'm a perfect example of that. The mental battles. I'm a perfect example of that. The discipline it took to keep going when life got heavy. Okay? So don't feel guilty for shining. Don't. Embrace it. The discipline took the discipline that it took. Like what? To keep going when life got heavy? Right? So don't feel guilty for shining now, because a flower doesn't ask permission to bloom. It blooms. A flower doesn't ask permission to bloom. It blooms. I talked about this, and Kevin talked about this in the Man's Cry documentary. When trees grow, when a community raises a child, it's like trees. It's done cohesively. Just remember that. Never get permission to succeed. Never. Just go and succeed. Okay? And if anybody's told you lately, keep going, keep building, keep healing, and keep winning quietly. Keep winning quietly, people. Let's do it. And let's continue to talk about more and more situations that can stop us from dealing with these people. Or sorry, more and more situations that can discourage us from knowing when we are winning and knowing the difference to when people are intimidated by us or when people are just not happy by us. Okay? Or they just don't like you. There's a difference. But intimidation and hate from winning usually is intimidation. All right? Just keep winning. The right people won't be intimidated by your success. They'll be inspired by it. All right? This is Therapy Hub. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Peace and love.